Hey guys, welcome back to the Paladins Alliance. It is absolutely crazy to see how much support I've been receiving after the Thorn and Mally Snake podcast. I'll link it down in the description below if you guys want to watch it if you haven't necessarily heard of the podcast. But I had an absolute blast making that type of content. It was an absolute honor to grace the stage with two titans of the scene. And so, it's just been amazing to see how much support you guys have been giving me. So I hope you guys continue subscribing. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Let's see if we can make it happen. For the next couple of weeks, since ESL Pro League is going to be going through their group stages, I wanted to take the time for every week to go over the one group that's going to be happening that week. So for this week is Group A, and I wanted to start a new series called One to Watch, where I go over a player that might not necessarily be discussed about on a higher level, and really dissect as to what they will bring to a potential underdog team at the big events that they're attending. So for today's video, we're going to be talking about Hades, the AWPer of ENCE, and he replaces Alu after the Finn took his leave of absence. I don't believe a couple months ago actually. So he's pretty new to the international stage, but he's performed very, very well in recent times. So I want to break down some demos of rounds that I thought were really interesting, as well as break down some statistics to help contextualize how well he's been playing. So you look at his overall stats in all time, and it's very good. If you remember when I was comparing it to Lucky had a lot of yellow stats, and I know I'm kind of simplifying it a lot, but it does really mean a lot to me when a AWPer is able to put up good results like this in the tier 2, so that when they do have the opportunity to take the tier 1, that's when we can really see where the positioning stands out and stuff like that. The smaller things really blow themselves up in the higher levels. So we will take a look at more of the lesser teams that ENCE has played, because they haven't had an opportunity to play that many top 20 teams with Hades in the lineup. So ESL Pro League will be a good test to that. Of course, the stats on a surface level have been really good. If we switch over to the individual statistics, some things to note here. The opening kill distribution has been really good over the last 6 months. 1.65 opening kill ratio is amazing. I think that's really good for an AWPer, that you're not dying first, and you're also putting up the numbers that you need as an AWPer to provide openings for your team to win. Although this number is quite low, first kill in 1 rounds is a little lower. You have more players like Diha and Spinks that are putting up numbers there. The team percentage of the team win percentage after the first kill is still incredible at 78%, which is still impressive to say the least. So as far as opening kills goes, he's doing his job as an AWPer. Let's keep looking at a couple more stats here. So we have the event history, and you see here, as far as events goes, he's extremely consistent. He's putting up good numbers all throughout. We can disregard this Cash Cup because it was just a random Polish mixed team that he was playing with for fun. But you can see on Wisla Krakow, he's done very well. This regional cup was insane, actually. And you can see here in his time at ENCE, it's actually been really impressive against more top 20 teams. So his place in ENCE is actually very good. It complements players like Diha and Spinks to perform well, and it'll be nice to see how he does at EPL as well. So one thing that I think separates Hades from other AWPers is how infrequently he gets flashed off of angles. It's actually incredible to me how many demos that I've been watching and how he's able to dodge through utility, because he's well aware as to the common util sets that these players are throwing at him. So you see Hades is here in the last 6 months. He's all the way here. Spinks is actually at the top, which is impressive enough. But Hades here is sitting at an 82% success rate. He's blinded only 1.59 seconds at the time, and he's flashing teammates for 1.63 seconds. Right? That's actually incredible. So now if we keep looking, let's look at other famous AWPers in recent memory. So we have Simple all the way down here, if you obviously see here, closer to the end. He's obviously getting flashed for a longer period of time, and he's also flashing at a decent rate. And the only problem is that he's getting a 64%. Obviously, he's playing against better teams, so there is a chance that they don't fall prey to these flashes as often, and it's more just a thing that these players go through just to get to the next portion of the round. And if we keep on this trend, we go to someone like Shiro. He's at a 67% success rate. And finally, let's look at Zaiwu. Zaiwu isn't even on this list, actually, as far as important players. So as far as big AWPers, obviously you have somebody like OC who's higher on the ranking than Hades. But other than that, I think that he's very good at dodging utility and getting opening kills for his team. The last thing that I want to take a look at is his clutch history. Obviously, with the AWP, it's a little easier to win clutches, but it's still impressive to me that he has a plus 22 difference against top quality teams for quite a while in his last 6 months. He's got a couple one-on-twos under his belt, a couple one-on-threes. Obviously, one-on-fours, one-on-fives are a little difficult, but it's still impressive nonetheless that he's able to also clutch with the AWP while also providing opening kills for the team. So having the ability to win rounds off of the front end and the back end is super important for an AWPer as far as holding the most expensive gun in the game. So this is extremely important going forward in the demo. So we'll jump into the demos now, and we'll really contextualize all these stats that we've just witnessed. So this first round that I want to showcase, and the next couple actually, will all be from the Entropic series that they had. Entropic's also another fringe team that'll be showing up at EPL, so this is a good gauge as to how they'll play against the lesser teams at EPL. And Hades performed extremely well in these scenarios. So this one round that I've picked out here is going to be showcasing how he's able to maneuver himself around the CT side. Something that I've been noticing about Hades is his ability to showcase his skills in the CT side rather than the T side. It gives him a little bit more freedom and hence really allows him to play a little bit more malleably. And you'll see that here, how he plays a little bit more proactively in some of these situations. So Hades will throw his standard mid smoke just to deny any early information and play lane side here in this situation. They'll leave arch open because they know that Entropic doesn't like to take it early. And Hades will try to make a play, but will think better of it after he hears the shots coming from alt mid. So he falls back. He denies a little bit of early boiler control, but Forrester takes it shortly after. And you'll see he'll be quickly, his arch side will be smoked off, and he'll be mollied off on lane. And now he's going to have to be really on his toes. And under normal circumstances, the AWPer would have to fall back on his site in anticipation for something to come, maybe an AWP or something, to just peek into the lane side, because this is a very common angle that AWPers like to take. So Hades plays the risk game here and holds his ground and tries to get that opening pick because he knows there's pressure coming from the A side. Forrester actually gives it to him. Hades wins the patience game here, and that opening kill is very imperative. You get to flash just to make sure that they don't push off aggressively. And then Hades immediately switches over to arch side. Now he wants to make sure that nothing gets past him on the arch side now. So a smoke comes for the library or the moto, whatever you want to call it. He flubs the movement there. That's something that you'll see in a lot of his demos where he has a little bit of sketchy movement, but that's okay. And now what's really important here is Snappy is going to be playing in the CT position, and it's going to take contact. So once he takes contact, he's going to go 1-for-1 here, right? He'll get one. He'll instantly get traded. And now, in this situation, Hades' position is very integral. Let's say he dies. So let's say he goes back into library, right? So if he goes back into library here, now he's very easily wrappable from CT side. And he gives up any positioning onto the A side, and he gets he's the only kill that's needed and to go into B. Sphinx is really underutilized here and could be exposed, frankly. And Hades understands this, and he decides to play in front of the arch smoke instead of behind it, where he's a little bit more exposed from library where they can flank him. So watch how he plays this. So he drops his own smoke, and he realizes that they're definitely going to be wrapping onto B. that Molly just seals the deal for him, and he decides to play a little bit more proactively and walks up all the way behind on a very quick flank. He spots Crad, the bomb, gets a leg on Elian, and now Spinks can just get ready to take contact, right? So he just hides in church for the time being. Doesn't get cleared, he gets 2. And then from there on out, the time has run out. Hades can just strike very easily. And he even kills Elian after time. So great round from Hades to stay alive and basically show how important his life is and still get information and kills off of a difficult spot as far as ENCE is concerned here. So the backs are against the wall for ENCE here, and Hades really clutches it out and shows how important he is to this squad as they defend off match point against Entropic. So he throws a standard grenade that players like to throw, and he gets a little bit of chip damage rewarded for him, and he throws a mid smoke shortly after. But keep in mind, he's playing with the FAMAS. There's another FAMAS in play here, so things are going to get dicey, and they're going to have to be a little bit more risky plays involved in order for them to win rounds. So we'll see here what Entropic decides to do. They lose banana control, so they want to take control of A because they know that it's worked out for them a couple of times throughout their T half. So they'll throw a couple of smokes. Obviously, this molly stops any initial aggression down the arch side. But this moto smoke and the arch smoke will segment off all the players on the A side of the map, and Hades is left on his lonesome. So Hades is well aware of this at this point, and this is where those flash stats are really important. He throws his very key flash and unlocks Dodo from the pit to get 2 kills. So watch how this plays out. So that one important kill now ignites these Entropic players to really turn their attention to the A site as well as the pit where Diha resides. So since they're dealing with that, this mono smoke is now fading, and Hades can take advantage and gets 2 kills off of the contact that his teammates are taking. Diha wins his fight in pit, and then Hades cleans up with playing under the default smoke as well. So very clutch flash from him, clutch shots on the lane side, and also very, very important plays to play under the default smoke and really seal the deal and take it to overtime for ENCE. And they'll eventually take this map and the series against Entropic. So on Overpass, the CT side op is just as important, if not more important than on Inferno. And Hades makes good use of it in this first round where he gets the op against Entropic. So he's going to go for the mid peak, but watch how he plays around the utility that's thrown at him. So Entropic is aware that Hades enjoys to go for the mid peak, and they preemptively throw a couple nades to his way, and so he preemptively dodges that and the flash that comes forward, and still gets the kill on Crad here. So once you have that man advantage, you want to sit on it as a CT because the sites just generally favor the CTs when they come into you. So once you have that man advantage, it's usually better to play a default out like that. And so this is what Hades does. He plays and just watches long as his teammates are set up in bathroom and garbage to make sure that Hades is covered on the long side. So Entropic wants to play a little bit more proactively. They're aware that their utility has been noted, and so they walk up the bathrooms, and Spinks gets a lot of information. And watch how Hades plays off of that information now. So he's going to watch people come up divider side, and he'll miss this first shot, but it's important to note that he's taking these opportunities and they will present itself over time, right? So it's not about how many shots you're hitting, it's about how many opportunities you can make for yourself and actually land, right? So he hits a shot blind, which is impressive to say the least. And now at this point, Forrester is the only one alive, and so he plays around with the dice box. I would say this is a little dicey to do, but he still converts the final kill, and ENCE goes up 4-1 on the CT side of Overpass. So I'd like to switch gears over to the series that they had against the Hyenas. So ENCE has had a weird turn of events in Vertigo where they're now in a very dicey situation. This round will basically be pivotal for the rest of the game, and you'll see here that both economies will be broken if said team wins the round. So watch how Hades is a little bit more proactive in this round, looking for picks and fishing for kills throughout this round. So he decides to go for the short shelf peek immediately, and he gets rewarded with it by hitting a blinder. That's a tough shot, and immediately after, instead of staying back and fighting on short shelf and just watching that, he immediately scopes up and walks all the way back to mid, and he will get rewarded here too. AZ and Borup are both unawares, and Borup gets punished for it immediately. So AZ is like, okay, well, we still want mid control, so we're going to smoke ourselves off. But Hades is immediately there to provide the molly to make sure that the prong attack, only one of the prongs are coming into the B attack, and that's from the ramp side, right? So AZ can't walk up onto heaven and is forced to evacuate and join his teammate on the other side. So Hades is going to move over, he gets mollied off, but he smokes it immediately. And now he plays a little bit more riskily here, but obviously he has to do this in this scenario because of Gate and how far up he's already pushed, right? So it's a little risky to play like this, and I don't actually recommend doing something like this in a dicey situation where you already have the man advantage, but Hades still makes it work, right? So he pushes up, Gade tries to go for a self boost here, and he'll get rewarded for his own kill, and now we're back into a 2v2, and Hades is now worried because now if he dies, the round is pretty much over, right? So again, I want to harken back to that flash peek stat that I was giving you, and he avoids the flash there again. He's aware by playing Jenny side to avoid and get the kill on Gade. And so now we're in a 2v1. He's like, okay, well, I can play a little bit safer. I know AZ is now default, and I can just wait for my teammate to come with. So AZ gets the plant down, and they'll play the 2v1 together. So that molly will force him back into quad. And so Hades is aware of this. He knows he hasn't crossed. So he's fishing for a kill quad. He's fishing, and he gets rewarded. 4 kills, 4 very, very pivotal kills for ENCE in this round. It will go to overtime, but he will eventually close it out and the series for ENCE here. So the last round that I want to go over is their series against Sinners. Although they lost this series, there was this monumental CT side comeback that a lot of it had to do with how Hades clutched out a lot of these rounds. I think he's an incredibly clutch player, and this round is super evident of it. So the Sinner side go on a half buy here, and it looks like this round is actually going to be easier than most because of the half buy that Sinners have. But you'll see here the outside players decide to go a little bit more offensively, and they get punished for it quite soon. So the B anchor of Dodo will also die here, which really gives a signal for the Sinners to commit onto the B site. And so now the shoulders of the map is all on Hades here. He spots one, he kills the second, and now he has to be playing a little bit more proactively, right? We don't know where the players are, so we have to take the matters in our own hands and get another kill. So he starts shifting up. He doesn't catch B-Stick here, and it will get punished, but he gets the immediate refrag, which is eventually what will matter in this round, and that B-Stick doesn't keep the round going for the Sinners. So Hades has an option here to move all the way through Secret, but with how much time there is on the clock, we don't know whether the Sinners have just paused and are waiting for something like this to happen from Hades, or if they are willing to just rotate to the other side. And we have Spinks on the other bomb side playing Heaven. So at this state of in this state of the round, Hades is actually in a very good position to just stay put. And that's exactly what he does. So he'll just stick around for around 30 seconds. And once the 30-second mark hits and he's basically cleared out a lot of lower, he can be confident in moving up Secret now and realize that, okay, well, it has to be A at this point, right? So either they're going to come mini or lobby, but let's just see what happens once I come up Secret. So you can see in the X-ray, Oscar is coming up through mini side, and Hades will be on his behind immediately. So Hades keeps walking up. He eventually punishes Oscar. The bomb is dropped, and then just a cherry on top, he kills Shock up on Heaven with a beautiful shot on Rafters. And this round will eventually catapult them into overtime, and they'll sadly lose a double overtime. But a lot of the CT comeback has to go to Hades and how he clutched up here. So I hope those demos contextualize a little bit more about those stats that I showed you previously, and how I think that Hades is a really good prospect for the future. And with how volatile Group A is, I feel like he can really perform and step up and perhaps even qualify for the playoffs with ENCE here. A couple things that I will say that I'm a little worried about that he could potentially improve upon in the future is honestly, the one big thing I can say is his rifling. If you see here, his AK-47 kills about 13% of his kills, but you go down the list and his M4A1 kills is 2%, and his A1S is 2.83%. That's like staggering low on the CT side. If you get him off the op, he's a little bit more volatile, and when economy is tight on the CT side, especially with the economy the way that it is right now, it really stifles his ability to frag out, and I think that'll be something that you can see in EPL when economy gets tough throughout all these games. But other than that, I think that there's a lot of things that are going for him here, and I'm really excited to see how ENCE performs at EPL. Other players to look at, of course, is Diha and Spinks. Those guys have been tearing up in the tier 2 scene. So be sure to keep a lookout for ENCE. I feel like they're going to do really good things here. They did well in the last EPL, and I'm sure they'll be nothing short of great here as well. So if you like this video, subscribe, like, all that jazz. Again, if you want to check out that Snake and Banner podcast, I'll drop that in the description box below. Read my content. Since the player break is starting or is ending now, I will be putting out a little bit more written content. I started writing for Rush B Media, so that's really cool. Thanks to the Ryan and the boys. So look out for that stuff. NA Premier content, all that jazz. I will catch you next week. I'll have some Group B content soon, and I'll see you then. Peace.